Many years ago, in the bustling city of Enugu, there lived a beautiful woman named Chioma who believed that life was incomplete without an audience, and so every little thing she did had to be documented online. If Chioma was eating breakfast, she would take 50 photos from different angles before posting. Living my best life, #blessed, #morning goals. If she was buying new shoes, she would create a video montage with music announcing another addition to my luxury collection, #designer life, #classy woman. And if she was simply sitting in traffic, she would record herself complaining, the struggle of success. My meeting cannot wait, #boss lady, #CEO. In truth, Chioma worked in a decent salon, but not at the level she portrayed online. She was not even the owner, not even the hairstylist. She was only a junior beautician who sometimes got the chance to assist with important clients and wedding makeup. But the way she posted on social media, hey, you would think Vogue magazine was waiting to interview her. Emeka, her husband, used to find it amusing at first. When they newly got married, he encouraged her passion. He took photos, helped her choose filters, and even bought her a ring light when she complained of poor lighting. He used to believe her when she said, "Baby, my social media presence is building my brand. It is international exposure." And he would reply with pride, "My wife, the influencer. God will bless your hustle." But over the years, he started to notice something disturbing. For all the posts she made about success, the money in the account never matched the lifestyle she displayed. And for all the so-called designer items, he would find receipts for cheap knockoffs hidden in drawers, or discover she had borrowed expensive bags from her friends just for photos. In the compound, the neighbors knew Chioma as the phone woman because every day they would see her posing by different walls, cars, and even their generator. She would greet them cheerfully. "Good morning, my people, oh, just creating content for my followers." And the neighbors would smile politely. But once she was out of sight, they would whisper, "Ah, this woman, she poses like Beyonce, but her rent is always late by 3 months." Sometimes, when she returned from the salon, she would sit at the front of her house with her phone, scrolling through comments and bragging. "See, my followers, they are saying I inspired them. Oh. They said I'm their role model." Emeka would sigh slightly because he knew the only thing she inspired was their drowning bank accounts, as she spent their money on clothes and photos, clothes she would only wear once. Still, Chioma carried herself like a celebrity. She bought so many beauty products that the bedroom looked like a cosmetic warehouse, and she spent hours taking selfies while rehearsing captions no one asked for. "Baby, watch this," she said. "Queens don't compete, they empower." She would pause and smile. "That is how you inspire thousands." Emeka would shake his head and say in his heart, "Chioma, I'm sure those thousands you are talking about are mostly bots and people scrolling past your posts." But he kept quiet most of the time because arguing with Chioma was like trying to empty an ocean with a spoon. She always believed her online life was real and her obsession captioned it. However, what she didn't know was that Emeka was starting to get frustrated and was thinking of a way to show her reality, as he had watched enough of her performance to know that Chioma's online profile was shinier than the actual life. The latest drama was about a birthday photo shoot she had been planning for weeks. It was one of those elaborate sessions where people rented expensive locations and wore multiple outfits just for the gram. But Chioma always found a way to go beyond her means. Sometimes, she would borrow dresses from boutiques, promising to return them untouched. Other times, she would beg photographer friends to shoot for free in exchange for exposure. And if all this failed, she would use their savings without discussing it with Emeka. See, the truth was that these photo shoots were draining their finances faster than rainwater through a broken roof. But Chioma loved the performance. Oh, how she loved it. She loved the likes, the comments, saying, "Stunning queen," and the chance to post captions about success and manifestations. Emeka had done his calculations many times, and he had noticed how their rent was always paid late. Their children's school fees always became a struggle, and their food budget kept shrinking. Yet, anytime he mentioned it, Chioma would flare up. "Babe, you don't understand. These posts are investments. Do you know how many brands are noticing me? In fact, my endorsement deal is around the corner, babe." The night before the photo shoot, Chioma was in full performance mode. She tried on 15 different outfits, applied and removed makeup 4 times until the bathroom sink looked like a crime scene, and stood in front of the mirror practicing poses even though the shoot was still hours away. She packed her expensive designer bag carefully, arranging makeup, jewelry, and shoes as if she was preparing for the Met Gala. Every few minutes, she would announce, "Baby, tomorrow is gonna be massive. This photo shoot will break the internet, I promise. My followers will see me and say, 'Chioma, you are the definition of success.'" Emeka would only nod and say, "I wish you well," because he was totally tired of her financial recklessness, tired of her fake lifestyle, tired of carrying the burden silently while she chased online validation. So, when she finally went to shower, still humming about future brand deals, Emeka quietly took the designer bag she had packed and carried it to the wardrobe. He emptied the contents and instead filled it with his own masterpiece. Her old house slippers with worn-out soles, one wrapper she tied at home, a pack of noodles, her faded nightgown with food stains, a scrubbing sponge wrapped in an old newspaper, and for good measure, her cooking apron that said "Mama's Kitchen." He zipped it carefully and placed it right where she had kept the bag. Then, he carried the real contents and hid them under the mattress. He dusted his hands, lay down on the bed and smiled in the darkness. The next morning, Chioma woke up early, taking mirror selfies and posting "big things loading," hashtag birthday photo shoot, hashtag level up. She put on her best dress, applied full makeup that took 2 whole hours, and announced loudly, "Baby, when I post these photos, everything will change. Do you know how many followers I will gain? Do you know how many brands will slide into my DM? Baby, this shoot is not ordinary. I'm about to go viral. Viral." Emeka replied calmly, "May your dreams come true, my wife." Chioma laughed confidently and grabbed the designer bag without checking inside. "Look at me now, social media queen, social media royalty. You see, honey? In short, when I come back, see you later. Bye. When I come back, we will celebrate my new milestone. Be going now," Emeka said. She walked out like a queen going to her coronation, with the bag hanging on her shoulder, not knowing she was carrying her disgrace in a designer packaging. Emeka stood at the window and watched her enter the taxi. He shook his head slowly and muttered under his breath, "Chioma, you are going for a photo shoot indeed. This one will shoot your shame." That morning, the photography studio was buzzing with activity. Makeup artists, stylists, and other clients waiting for their turn filled the elegant space. Chioma walked in like Beyoncé arriving at a concert, her heels clicking confidently on the marble floor, her perfume announcing her arrival, and her phone recording her entrance for the Instagram story. She spotted the photographer, a young man named Tunde, and waved dramatically. "Tunde, darling, are you ready to capture greatness today? By God's grace, these photos will trend worldwide, baby." Tunde laughed and said, "Chioma, you and this your big talk every time. We are just doing a simple birthday photo shoot, not Vogue cover now." But Chioma raised her chin proudly and replied, "Tunde, you don't understand. It is in simple shoots that viral moments are born. Mark my words. Endorsement deals are loading. The other clients in the waiting arena exchanged glances and smiled. And oh yes, take selfies right now because you are looking at a real goddess. When next you see me, you won't be able to come close, Chioma announced proudly. Soon, it was time to prepare. The makeup artist had already finished touching up her face, and now it was time to change into her first outfit and add the jewelries and shoes she had packed. Everyone else were pulling out elegant dresses, expensive jewelries and designer heels from their bags. Then it was Chioma's turn. She smiled wildly, placed her designer bag on the counter with flair, and announced to everyone, "Let me show you what class looks like." She unzipped the bag confidently. However, the silence that followed was louder than thunder. Out of the bag tumbled her house slippers. It landed with a soft thud. The worn-out soles faced up for everyone to see. "What is this?" the makeup artist asked. Chioma's eyes widened in horror as she looked into the bag. She pulled out the faded nightgown with food stains, holding it up as if it would magically transform into a designer dress. The other clients began to giggle. "Chioma, are you planning to sleep during the photo shoot?" one woman asked. Another added, "So this is the international standard you've been posting about?" Chioma's mouth opened and closed like a door in the wind. No, wait. This is not what I don't understand now. There must be a mistake." But the makeup artist assisted her unapologetically. She pulled out the pack of noodles and held it up. Chioma, were you planning to cook in the studio?" The room erupted in laughter. Clients, assistants, and even the photographers could not control themselves. Then, like the final humiliation, the makeup artist dragged out the cooking apron that said "Mama's Kitchen" and waved it dramatically. "Should we use this for your outfit? Is this your outfit for the photo shoot?" By now, Chioma's face was darker than storm clouds. She stammered, I know. This is not my bag. Someone had swapped it. This is sabotage." But the clients were doubled over with laughter. One of them shouted, "Chioma, the social media queen of noodles. I think we should call you the cooking influencer." Another added, wiping tears from her eyes, "Your endorsement deal is indeed coming. Endorsement from Mama's Kitchen brand." The laughter was so loud that even people from the next studio came to see what was happening. They gasped and giggled as Chioma frantically searched the bag, hoping to find something, anything that looked like what she had packed. But all she found was the scrubbing sponge wrapped in newspaper, which fell out and rolled across the floor, like her dignity escaping. Tunde tried to compose himself and said gently, "Chioma, maybe you should go home and come back when you are properly prepared." But the damage was done. Chioma grabbed the bag, stuffed everything back inside with shaking hands, and rushed out of the studio. The clicking of her heels that had sounded so confident when she entered now sounded like footsteps of defeat. Behind her, she could hear the laughter continuing. People saying, "Did you see her face?" and "Wait until I post about it on my private story." Outside the studio, Chioma sat in a taxi with tears streaming down her face, ruining her expensive makeup. She had spent 2 whole hours applying the makeup. Her phone buzzed with notifications. Her scheduled post about grace and elegance had gone live, but she couldn't even look at it. The irony was so painful. By the time she returned home, her steps were no longer confident. The designer bag that she had carried so proudly now clutched on her chest like evidence she wanted to hide. Her makeup was smeared, and her expensive dress seemed to mock her. Emeka was waiting for her in the living room with a calm expression that made Chioma suspicious. He did not ask about the photo shoot. He simply looked at her and said, "Welcome home, influencer. How was your viral moment?" Chioma threw the bag on the floor and shouted, "Emeka, did you do this to me? Did you swap my things?" Emeka stood up and replied, "Yes, I did. And I am not sorry." Chioma started crying. How could you embarrass me like this? Do you know what happened? Do you know how they laughed at me? Chioma, do you know you have been embarrassing this family? Do you have any idea? Do you know how our children sometimes go to school late because you are busy applying makeup for 4 hours, spent the school fees money on clothes for photos, while our children were sent home from school? Do you know how our landlord respects us less because our rent is always late, but your Instagram shows designer life? The embarrassment you felt today is just a small taste of what you've been serving this household. Chioma wanted to argue, but something in his voice stopped her. Emeka continued. You have been living a lie, Chioma. You borrow dresses and you return them. You use filters to change your face. You post food from restaurants claiming you cooked it. You caption photos with Bible verses, while our church offering is always smallest because you spend the money on designer dress. Who are you deceiving? The strangers online or yourself? For the first time in years, Chioma had no comeback. The memory of the house slippers tumbling out of the designer bag replayed in her mind like a horror movie. The sound of people laughing echoed in her ears. She covered her face and sobbed. Emeka, I just wanted people to respect me. I wanted to feel important. Chioma, respect does not come from pretending. It comes from being real. You are my wife. If you post or you don't post, you are still my wife. If you have designer clothes or not, you are still my wife. But when you lie to yourself and try to be bigger than who you are, you end up looking smaller in everyone's eyes, including mine. His words cut deeper than any laughter had. Chioma sat quietly, shoulders shaking with sobs, not trying to defend herself at all. That night, Chioma did not take any selfies. She did not check her notifications. She did not plan any content or write any caption. She simply removed her expensive dress, washed off her makeup, and told Emeka softly, I am sorry, baby. I'm sorry for everything. I had no idea, and you endured all this. Emeka nodded. It is fine. Just be my wife. I can be proud of you in real life, not a character people laugh at online. From then on, the noise on Chioma's social media reduced like a radio that had finally been turned down. Chioma no longer posted 3 times a day with fake captions about success. The neighbors noticed immediately. One of them whispered, Where is our social media queen now? Her page has been quiet for days. Even the generator there has missed her. Another added, Maybe Instagram has banned her account permanently. But the truth was that Chioma had decided to face reality. She still did makeup at the salon as usual. She still took care of her appearance. But the endless posting about fake designer life stopped. She no longer borrowed dresses for photos she couldn't afford. And even when her phone buzzed with notifications from followers asking where their influencer queen had been, Chioma simply ignored them. Instead of spending evenings editing photos, Chioma began to actually cook the meals she used to claim she made. Sometimes, when Chioma's fingers itched to post something fake, she would suddenly remember the sound of her house slippers hitting the studio floor, that soft thud that silenced her pride. She would put down her phone, take a deep breath, count 1 to 10 and backwards, and choose authenticity instead. One Saturday evening, as they sat together on the veranda eating roasted corn, Emeka teased her, Babe, it's been a long time you posted, living my best life. Don't you miss the likes? Chioma laughed and shook her head. Babe, I miss nothing. If you experience what I did you too will log out. They both laughed and continued eating their corn. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Give this story a thumbs up. Share with your family and friends. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so by now. Till I bring you another interesting, intriguing African story. God bless you.